Saw that journey from a small company, first few hires into a significant large company, saw that journey and the transition, which made me kind of establish my credentials in the industry. So I did that. And then I realized that I enjoyed the startup world. And I also realized that I get bored the moment things kind of get stabilized and businesses are built. And once it reaches a stable state, I kind of get bored and I'm looking for something new to do. So then I joined the startup, which had nothing to do with what I had done earlier. It was a structured finance startup, and I had very poor academic background. So one would wonder what was a guy like me doing in structured finance or in supporting commercial real estate investment banks make lending decisions on some of the biggest real estate loans. And I built that business again. I was the first person hired in that business, and I saw that business scale up from zero to a significant number of people. I had an interesting journey, learned that business, acquired new skills, and I, till that business was acquired by BlackRock. So today, the captive that BlackRock runs in India was, erstwhile a small company called Helix Financial, which I was involved in building. Now, RICS was entering India at that point of time, and they were looking at somebody to head that business. And, I took on that role to actually set up that business for the South Asia region. And eventually I ended up handling their global emerging businesses. And I set up, so the RICS are like the chartered accountants of the real estate and construction sector globally. So they've set qualifications and they set standards for real estate and construction. But it's a very conservative institution. But what I did for them was something, again, very radical. For someone with very poor, when I say very average academic pedigree, I decided to set up an education business and specifically focused on, I felt that there was a skill gap, as far as the real estate and construction industry was concerned. And it was the second largest employer after agriculture. But again, there was very little education, a formal education that existed internationally. And I felt that there was an opportunity for RICS to address that. And I set up an education business. I ran that for almost a decade, set up that business across 2 campuses that are there in Noida and in Mumbai in partnership with Amity University. We have about 2,000 students in the full-time format and about 50 to 60,000 students, and working professionals that are trained every year. So I built that business for about, almost a decade, ran that business, worked closely with Nish. He's always been an ardent supporter and has helped at different stages of my career. My story is about somebody who never would be hired by a big company. So I took the only roles that I got, the only opportunities that I got were with startups. And I made sure that I made the most of them. Fortunately, all 4 of the startups that I built have been successful. And so I can feel, a certain sense of satisfaction in having been responsible for some success stories. Being an average student and someone who was very lost in his career when it came to academic direction, I just felt that this was a very big problem statement to be addressed. And this was very true for every family, every child, every parent. Everybody's thinking about what is my child going to do, and the child himself is thinking about what he's going to do. The number of decisions that a person makes in terms of their choices are very stereotypical. You think of being a doctor or an engineer or 3-4 choices. But those choices are now becoming a lot wider. And there is a lot of confusion when it comes to what people would want to do with their careers. And that's really the problem statement of the business that I'm setting up and that I'm trying to solve a problem, which is to help people with discovery, self-discovery as we call it. And that discovery is right now pertaining to careers. And we felt that this was the space that we wanted to occupy and help people with self-discovery. Purely from a education, skilling, life skills, those perspectives, I clearly see a lot of the focus is obviously moved from face-to-face to online. And you can see that traction pretty much in all the online digital businesses that are now showing very fast year-on-year growths on their numbers, specifically pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. You look at the numbers of any edtech and you realize the kind of numbers. So purely from that perspective, clearly the fact that people are here, and I do think this is a trend that is going to stay. It's not something that has just happened. I know things will move back to a hybrid model, obviously, for face-to-face and digital, and online. But I definitely do believe that I don't see the online businesses and the online education space kind of retracting to the kind of old numbers. I see people who are getting into digital businesses focused on online mediums will definitely continue to succeed and thrive.
You've raised money during this period. How easy or how tough has it been? And what would you share with people, trying to raise funds during this period?
So first things first, you've got to close your ears to what the way normal VCs will tell you to raise money. The point is that everybody wants a great deal, and while there are lots of great ideas, there are lots of good ideas. My challenge was that I didn't want to run a business which was bootstrapped. Okay, so we wanted to be well capitalized even as a startup, and that was something that we were very, very clear about, that we would raise more money. My experience of building startups, I think part of the reason why most startups fail is because they're not well capitalized and they're more focused on running out of money every few months. And there, the way I've gone about it is slightly, I've obviously went to friends and family, people who had known us, friends from the industry who had seen what I've done in my past life. So fortunately for me, I can tell you that, at the end of the period, at the end of the journey, when I've done 3 months of fundraising, I can say that the end results are good, and that I've raised $6 million, which for a seed round is a very good number. And I haven't divested too much of the company. So I've done it at a valuation that most startups would say would be possibly associated with a Series A kind of a valuation, which is what I managed to do at a seed stage. And I'd say it all kind of boils down to your passion. But let me put it this way: for 40 guys who backed me, I must have spoken to 400. Okay, so it's not been easy. Everybody liked the idea, everybody liked what we were looking to do, but it's a question of, in some cases, just the conviction wasn't there about, the valuation. In some cases, we set ourselves an arbitrary number, and that, we're valued at this amount, and we wanted to, this is the amount that we were going to divest. So actually, there were people who believed in your story, and those people are people who've known you, who've seen you from close quarters. And I think in the initial few checks and term sheets came from people who had known us and people who had seen our track record in the industry. My learnings are more specific to the fact that I believe that average people can be successful, can be very successful. And, I've always believed in, despite the fact that I put myself down mostly, and I like to kind of make sure that I do that. It is the kind of defense mechanism that I have. But I'd say that I've always tried to punch above my weight. And most of my journeys, in the startup world have been trying to punch above my weight and trying to find the bearings and trying to make them work and find solutions every day. So I think that's something that I just wanted to mention. And two things I've learned from my little startup journey and my journey of the last 25 years. One is that rejection, you will find rejection 8 out of 10 times, but it's those 2 times that you kind of score. You've got to make sure that you score big. And I think, my little experience of my fundraising, I know I've got rejection from so many people that I thought would back me. And then there were people who surprised me and, with the backing that I got. So I think, that is the positive bit that has to keep you going. And that's something that, I feel is very important.